My name is Amina Kothari. I am an assistant professor in the Department of Communication, and this is my first year.
Where do you get most of your news from?
Well, as a journalism professor and someone who does international research, I go to multiple media sources, mostly online. So I would start out with New York Times in the morning, NPR. I'll go to the websites. I also look at Al Jazeera, CNN, because they're good with breaking news stories. But then I also go on Twitter. I follow a lot of media organizations and individual journalists, so that way I can get things that are still developing. But since I live in Rochester, I also go to Democrat and Chronicle website as well. So mostly, yeah, now unfortunately, even though my training and my background is in print, I use online as my primary.
Do you prefer getting your news from online, print newspapers, or print magazines, radio, or television?
Okay, my primary choice today is online because that's where the breaking news usually tends to be. But as someone who teaches journalism, I also like to read the print copy of New York Times because you have more time to read it at leisure and mark up things as well. So I like the physical texture, feeling to be able to, turn pages around, go back. You can do that with the iPad now, but still the physical feeling isn't there with the digital media. My second source would be radio. I like hearing news. TV is good for visuals, but sometimes the visuals distract from the message. So when I'm driving, I like to listen to radio, especially NPR. Magazines, I don't really have time for them, although I would read magazines that are really tailored to international topics.
What news outlet do you find most accessible?
I would say the mainstream media, especially New York Times in the US, and BBC is another one. For international news, they are accessible in multiple ways. So, the physical paper itself, but the online version, they also have an app as well. And there are also journalists who are active on social media. So there are multiple ways, and so you find whatever is easier for me to access at that time, these particular outlets are my go-to.